Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing today? I'm so grateful to be here with you to share this video with you guys. I want to talk to you guys about illusions. Um, they've been showing up more and more in my awareness. And I kind of want to just walk you through a few things that I've, come across since April 5th of 2020. And it seems to be ramping up more and more. And people are kind of like trying to decide where to put their energy and who to follow, who to believe. You know, a lo- we have a lot of people we follow because we feel like we're getting answers. And we follow a lot of people because we feel like they're going to save us or give us a reprieve of information that makes everything better in our life. But I'm finding more and more that I'm like watching for illusion's sake, the more they're tripping over their words. So I wanted to come on here and just kind of share a little bit of what I've noticed and some of the things to help you guys decipher illusions as well. So back when, just before April rolled around, my girlfriend and I were on, galactic mission. And during that time, we were told that this whole fake demic was over on April the 5th of 2020. So I took that as truth because I'd never heard any other date associated with that. So I was like, okay, I'm good. So as things started to transpire, I started to follow certain people and I'm like, oh, well, this is cool information. I take it in and share it. And all of a sudden it was like, well, that didn't happen. And then more and more stuff started to come in and that didn't happen. So it was kind of like, do I want to keep following these people who don't give me anything but more of the same story? So my guides tapped into me and said, don't bother. Right. So I took a step away. I didn't follow anybody for a little bit. I just kind of kept to myself because I fell into that trap of, oh, you know everything. Oh my gosh, your information is so correct. It turns out it wasn't, right? It's to string you along, create hope, but then false hope, right? Hope and false hope is still lack mentality. So as I'm going throughout my day, I've joined Telegram, I've joined all these truther channels, and still same thing is happening. So I wanted to come on and just share a little bit about what an illusion is. Mind you, I've been looking at this for 7 months and now 2 years, right? So I pretty much can spot all the bull crap that's being told, right? And it certainly is you. The illusion is whatever you decide your belief system wants to tell you, right? So if you believe something is true, that's your truth. You don't have to believe anything that I'm telling you. You don't have to believe any story that I'm going to share with you. But that's your belief system that's going to say yes or no. Okay. And everybody has that belief system. The belief system kind of protects us, right? From somebody judging us, from somebody criticizing us, from somebody stepping forward and saying, oh, well, that's not correct. So my journey through this has been one very interesting. My one girlfriend keeps track of pretty much everything that I say when it relates to this fake stuff going on. And she says, you're really accurate. You need to go on and tell people. And I'm like, what do I say? So here I am. So the first thing that started to show up was around the shots in the arm. And with that, I had said 3 days after a certain one was going to hit the shelf, SCJ, was to hit the shelf, it would be pulled off in New York. 3 days later, it was pulled off. Okay. The next thing was like certain things needed to flood. That was one of the things that I got right away. Places needed to flood because it was man-made flooding. Okay. So China, Three Gorges Dam. We just have BC right now flooding. It's all man-made, right? You don't have to believe that. But if you start to look at a series of events, they're creating it for a reason, right? New York has flooded twice. And now you've got not Florida, but Miami, I believe, LA is starting to receive water. Holland was another one, received lots of water. It's all man-made, right? So the easiest way to kind of spot an illusion is by looking at the articles that people are posting, but don't dive in and bring that into you. We don't want to bring in somebody else's opinion or somebody else's perception into what we want to believe, right? So how that works is if I go on YouTube, I have only certain things that I'll watch. So pretty much everything else is blocked. But if I go into a regular news feed of YouTube, you'll see two ads contradict each other. When you see those two ads that contradict each other, it's kind of easy to see where they're lying, right? Because how can 1 minute it be like 600 new cases and the next minute, oh, we're going to open everything up? It just doesn't make sense, right? You can't walk down the street without singing happy birthday, you'll get a ticket, right? So it's learning to understand where they're showing it to you and what it actually means, right? So let's go into this a little bit more. By listening to ourselves and what we believe as our perception to be true, you'll start to see things unfold. So here's one thing that I heard the other day. I chuckled because I thought it was funny. The one girl said, "There's nothing in this that can hurt you." 2 days later, she said, "Oh, don't take this. It's bad for you. Everything that's in there is bad." And I thought, wow, so you're screwing up all of the people who watch you because you want to keep your followers, right? And you're buying into the same narrative as everybody else, right? They all talk to each other so that they can all get their story straight, right? That's not okay. That's leading people along so that they believe in your narrative, right? If somebody else is pulling the puppet string, then it's hard for you to keep the lie straight, right? So another one that showed up was around concentration camps. Well, a couple of them are like, yeah, if that comes up, just go, just go. Somebody posted it on Facebook and said, Australia is going through all of this stuff. And I went, that makes no sense. What are they trying to show you? Because unless you're going to walk in and take pictures of them actually bringing people into that space, and you know exactly why they're doing it, maybe it's for housing, maybe it's to give them a dry place to sleep, then you're going to assume the worst, right? The media is going to show you whatever you want to hear as long as you'll believe it, right? So when we turn the media off and stop believing their narrative, they can't survive without you, right? So it's like turning it off and going, I need to think for myself. And when you start thinking for yourself, the logic starts to come in around, that's correct, right? Part of this too has to do with your perception of what you see. So where I live, everyone's like, oh my gosh, there's hundreds of people lined up to get this in the arm. And I'm like, I just went there. There was nobody in line. Or they'll say like, oh my gosh, I went here and everyone was sick. And I'm like, wow, because we can fill stadiums full of people with no masks and nobody's sick. Right? If you go down to any station that does testing, there's nobody in line, but you buy into what the media is telling you that all these people are standing in line. It doesn't make sense. Their stories don't make sense. They're trying to grasp at something to keep you locked in, right? And you're buying into that truth that somebody else is trying to convince you of, right? So if you keep buying into the stories, then you can't create your own reality because you're following along in somebody else's truth. This is what the awakening is about. It's about you awakening your consciousness to what you believe is true, right? I stepped out of this narrative a really long time ago and I changed my timeline. When I go outside my door, there's no vaccine clinics. There's no, other than people at the grocery store wearing the thing on their face, which they don't have to wear, right? That's another thing that doesn't make sense. We keep extending these emergencies for what? Right? Now we're supposed to be lifted on December 1st, right? But we can't let go of the mat. Your state of emergency is over on December 1st, but you can't take off your mask till March 1st. Do you see the illusion there? You can take off your mask anytime you want to because they physically are not allowed to ask you to wear that in the store. So do you see the false narrative? They want you to buy into a story. So the easiest way to create change is to want the change first and foremost. And then you need to come from love, right? So, and what I mean by that is it's interesting to watch people protest, right? Where I live, there's a protest every weekend. And you can go watch it. But the thing is, what good is it doing? The government doesn't care that you're protesting on a weekend. They don't care that you're leaving your family to go stand in a cold crowd because they're going to take away your right to even broadcast it because they just cut your news feed above the city you're standing in and say, no, you can't broadcast that. And do you know why? Because if it spreads like wildfire, oh my gosh, then we're going to have everybody who rises up at the same time and overthrows the government. Because we have to understand, we are the 99%. They're the 1%. We are 99. We don't have strength in numbers. We totally have strength in numbers. Right? So it's learning to move out of these narratives, right? That people are telling you, oh, 3 days of darkness, 10 days of darkness was supposed to happen on November 11th. Did anybody find those 10 days of darkness? Nothing. My computer didn't go off. My computer didn't shut down. My computer stayed up and it kept running YouTube and Facebook and everything else. But all the truthers were saying, it's going to go down. You're going to see 8-hour reruns of all this stuff. And I'm like, great, bring it on. Because since 2 years now, your narrative's not working. But you want people to buy into it. And we need to stop buying into what they're saying, right? One girl had said that things were going to end very shortly. The next video she did said, oh no, but this is going to be pushed back now. So as you anticipate, oh my gosh, this is done. And then the next day it's like, oh shit, we got more. Now you're buying into somebody else's narrative. They want you to believe them over the news. They're no different. They're still giving you a false narrative. But let's go back to the rallies and the whole, let's go protest. If we haven't learned anything yet, it's about how to protest properly, right? By standing up and protesting something, that means you're pushing it away. Because we don't need to protest anything. We need to stand and unite in love. God only gives us love, right? And when we start to understand that, it starts to change everything about you. And you can say that I'm off my rocker and I'm crazy, but I can tell you certain things, right? I can tell you that we can heal our bodies in 7 months. You just have to be willing to do the work. I'm changing people. I've told my doctor that I am not into her pill pushing and that I actually help people get off their medicine so they don't have to buy the stupid ass drugs anymore. That's what we can do. We can also stand up and say, you know what? I'm done listening to this. I'm going to create my own life. Now, one person has told me I need to go get this to have my freedom. Not one person. You don't have to either. You make the choice for you. We have to rise and understand where love comes from, feeling love here for us first, and then we need to unite. Everybody who sits in a peace in a protest rally, sit down and chant Om. You're going to see a bigger rise than anything else if you do that. But we have to start stepping out of some of the stuff that we believe as truth, and it's not our truth. You're just listening to other people, right? When people are telling you need to think this way, no. And it's interesting to watch people backpedal right now, right? I've had clients come to me and say, oh, my teacher told me I was going to die in 2 years because I got this. And I went, that was pretty shitty. That was pretty shitty because he didn't see their side. He allowed his ego to come in. And there's truthers who do the same thing too. Oh my gosh, you got the vaccine. You're going to die. Oh my gosh, 2 years, you're done. It's bullshit. Let's just call it what it is. The spade's the spade. If you got this, it's most likely sugar and water, if not saline, because they want to create the rise out of you. And that's what they're doing. They're creating the fear. A friend of mine said to me, a friend of his had a miscarry because of this. No, it's not because of that. You have to understand that you have possibilities of a timeline that you choose every second. If she wasn't supposed to have that baby, something other than this may have shown up in order for that to happen. I don't know her. I don't know her timeline, but that's just what I was shown, right? So we have to start understanding where all of our choices reflect the outcome, right? We can't blame this because we're in the hospital, or this because I'm on a ventilator, or this because, I miscarried. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, right? It's understanding that you have choice. You have 100% choice over everything that you believe, right? Right now, it's a push-pull because they want to take away your right to choose. But if you stand in the light and you stand in the power and you stand in your truth, they're not going to ask you anything. They're not going to ask you to do something you're not comfortable with because you get to make a choice. Right now, it's the whole narrative of 5 to 11-year-olds. If you don't think you can build immunity, then that's nuts, right? There's 28 strands of CV in your body. Are you ready to get 28 boosters? Right? Or are you ready to say no more? Right? Because that's been proven by scientists. You have 28 strands of it dormant in your body. Who would you rather believe? Your government who got kicked out of school for being a pedophile? Or are you going to actually stand in your own truth and say, hey, I'm going to heal myself? Right? We have to start understanding where these things don't line up and start stepping in our own truth. Right? If I can do it, so can you. I was on the total bandwagon, not anymore, right? I'm going to do another video on how to change your timeline, because once you do, nothing stands in your way. There's nothing that, oh, are you back? None of that shows up, right? You don't have to step into that reality of a narrative. Hey, Vanetta, so glad you're here. Yeah, so like we don't have to buy into this. Right? You really don't. You just need to stand in your light of truth. You have to stand in your light of truth. Nothing, God's not going to give you more than you can handle. And if you think he's going to, you're wrong. He's going to give you only what you can handle, and he's going to show you your strength to get there. Right? I work with a lot of trauma. I work with a lot of readings, and I work with a lot of guidance from wisdom and angels and you name it. I can channel whoever you want me to. But I won't promote fear to any of my students or any of my clients, because we're not here to promote fear. Fear doesn't work. Fear amplifies the pain you're feeling. Fear amplifies this whole crapola, right? We have to stop bringing in the fear. There's nothing to fear, right? The media will show you what you need to know. Here's another thing. They just channeled me. Everything you're watching right now was from 2 years ago, before the April the 8th. So the things in the Suez Canal, this over here, certain things are in the moment. They just want to see your reaction. Most of the stuff that you've been watching is a movie that they've already filmed. Well, I don't know about you guys, but when they made Winnie the Pooh, it probably took them 5 years to character draw all of those scenes. And once they were done, you got to watch it in the movie theater, and it took you 45 minutes. How is this any different? How is this any different? Start noticing changes in people. I literally went to sit down and watch a movie, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't even look the same. Oh my gosh, you got facelift or something in the last year. Like, they just don't look the same, right? Things are showing up where it doesn't make sense. But what is it you need to see of that? Open your eyes. Start seeing things the way they're meant to be seen. You've got to start seeing things the way you believe them to be. They have cures for everything on this planet. There's been a cure for cancer since, I think it's 2001. Right? But you don't need the med bed. You don't need any of that stuff. They already told us about the med bed, right? The one med bed that was supposed to come out, they were going to take your DNA and rearrange it for you. Amazing. You want to give your DNA over to somebody you don't know? I don't know. That's pretty... Yeah, I don't think I would do that. But if you go to people who are trained to do certain things, you can heal the body, you can heal the mind, you can heal the trauma. I work with people who've been raped, molested, you name it. I've worked with them. And they're like 20 years in therapy done in one day. They don't go back because they don't need to go back. Because we need to understand how to get to the root cause of all the crap that's going inside of you to make the change. And in order to make the change, you got to see the truth. And it's got to be your truth first. So yeah, open your eyes and start seeing what's actually in front of you. Take a step back and observe instead of diving right in and going, oh my gosh, I want to follow them and I want to believe them, right? Because there's a lot of people who are starting to turn their backs on them going, nothing you have said has been true. You just tiptoe around everything until it suits your narrative, whether that's I'm going to donate to your monthly thing or over here I'm going to pay for your course or whatever it is. You have to start seeing your truth. What are they providing you that you're not providing yourself? Maybe you need to go within, do some meditation. Maybe you need to go in and talk to yourself and say, what the hell is going on? And by doing that, you're going to start to see your truth rise even more. And it doesn't take much. Sit with yourself to 5 to 10 minutes a day. When I go on like Telegram or any of these groups, I literally go on and I'll look at the stories and then I just shake my head. One day you're telling me I need to go get a gun to protect myself. The next day you're like, no, you don't need that. One day you're saying there's nothing in the vaccine. The next day you're telling me that it's all poison. I mean, how do you follow that? How do you follow that? That makes no sense. And these are the people we want to put our trust in, the ones who are telling you one thing one day and a lie the next. Maybe they're both a lie, right? It's learning to decipher that illusion that's being set before you, right? I have information from our military. They haven't gone anywhere. But everyone's like, oh my gosh, the military's over here. Yeah, if you live where they are, then they're doing training exercises because they will be doing peacekeeping missions. Because right now, there's not allowed to be any war. Every country signed that agreement. So there's another illusion. Oh, this is going on over here. Nope. This is going on. Nope. I don't buy into any of it. Show me it's actually happening. I had a gentleman actually message me maybe a year ago, and he's like, oh my gosh, give to these children in India. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Can you show me? I want to see. No. I'm like, well, why won't you show me? No, I just donate. I'm like, show me what you're seeing, because I got a girl in the next video who's showing me that there's nobody prancing around in the streets going hungry or it's all flooded. There's nothing. So you show me and I'll gladly give you $1,000. Show me. But he couldn't do that. So there you've got the illusion of what are you actually going through? Because I'm here willing to give. I give all the time. Right? But it starts stepping up to the illusions. Here's another one for you, for everyone who donates to Make-A-Wish in Canada. Walmart, I think it was $31.6 million they collected out of your pockets. Guess where all that money went? It goes to their lawyers. Why would Make-A-Wish need some lawyers? Right? Because the hospital's always doing draws and drives and anything to make money so that they can buy new equipment. For those children, $31.6 million, and they can't give it to the hospital. They've got to give it to the lawyers. And do you know how I know that? I had a kid come to my door canvassing for Make-A-Wish. And I said, Walmart just raised this amount of money. Didn't you guys get it? He's like, no. You got to subscribe monthly if you want to give us any money. I thought, wow, how ironic is that? So people are just so genuinely giving it over and the money doesn't even go to the kids. So maybe it's about us turning how we donate, right? How do I donate? Instead of giving money, I'm going to buy the product and put it in the bin. Maybe instead of me giving at Walmart, I'm going to give directly to Make-A-Wish, right? It's starting to take, ownership of where these things go, right? We all learned from Haiti, right? I'm sure every part of the world gave to Haiti to build, housing for them and be able to give them sustainable. Did any of that get done? Nope. So it's us standing up and us seeing the illusions for what they are and us making the change. So if you want to go protest, go start chanting Om. Because Om is the pathways to God and higher consciousness. So let's start raising that so that we're making a difference. Start affirming what you want instead of what you don't want. Right? I love you guys. I hope this was helpful. But yeah, go test yourself on YouTube, right? Pull up 2 videos and ask, what's the illusion? Start seeing what it is, right? The whole blip with Facebook and all that, you don't think that that's going to be the only time. There's going to be way more. You don't think it's interesting that the banks took a holiday in the end of September? Do you know the indigenous people didn't even get that holiday? Kind of strange. It's a holiday for them, right? And their logo changed. Why would CIBC change their logo? Interesting enough, they changed it and it cost them a shit ton of money. So that just shows me something transpired that forced them to change it and have to pay it. Right? But that's not the only one. Uncle Ben's is another one. They just changed all of their stuff as well. So where we need to start looking at these illusions, deodorant, I don't know if anyone caught that, but it used to be like the whole shelf was all this aluminum deodorant with baby powder in it. Now it's all aluminum free, no baby powder. Why would they be making that change? Cheese used to actually taste good. Cheese tastes like shit now. Oh, maybe cheese got in trouble too. Kraft and all those other brands. Maybe they started to get in trouble and maybe now they have to, you know, convert their stuff over. Right? So if they have to convert their stuff over, why would that be happening? You know, I've had lots of people tell me that hot dogs taste absolutely disgusting now. Oh, because they're not throwing all the chemicals and shit they used to in there. Now you actually are eating what hot dogs are supposed to taste like, and that's gross. Right? So we have to start being the change we want. Be the change you want to see. You don't like something, make that change. Start saying I am affirmations. Come follow me on Facebook. I write affirmations every single day, and they're changing with what's going on. Let's have a dry BC instead of a wet one. Let's have, you know, everybody free to make choices. No this anymore on the face. That we can talk to each other and we can hug each other. You know, human touch. Why do you think they put babies on mummies' tummies and in their chests when they're born? Because it's the same as an animal. It's imprinting. And that's why they do it. But now they're taking away your right? You got to do this before. No, your right is to have your baby and hold your baby. Your right is to want the absolute best for that baby. So now it's time for you to stand up and want the absolute best for you. Right? So maybe I give you guys a challenge. Go to all those truthers you hang out with, or you support, or you watch, whatever it is, and start seeing the illusion. Watch the anomalies when they speak. Somebody's pulling those puppet strings. Somebody's pulling it. So let's see if you guys can figure it out. Figure out where the anomalies are and what they're saying. Figure out where you catch them in a lie. I have called out so many of them live, right? Because you can't spew one thing and be like, oh, you're going to die. And like 2 months later, you're going, no, you're going to be fine. Well, you just told everyone they're going to die. That's not fair. That's not right. So now it's time to take ownership and say, you know what? I didn't really know what was happening. Sorry. But you won't hear that. So now it's time for you guys to stand up and say, show me the illusion, and start dissecting them and start showing yourself, right? Because they're all there for a reason. It's if you're going to follow them, or are you going to come into higher consciousness and start following the one that actually matters, which is source? Because there's certain things that information that I've gotten, and it's like, I can't move it past that timeline. So for me, it was till October 31st. So lots transpired behind the scenes. You maybe didn't catch it. From October 31st to December 31st will be a next one, right? We've got stuff going on in between Christmas to New Year's. There's a big upset coming, but this stuff doesn't end until we rise together in love and unity. I can tell you that we all have to rise. Whether that's the state of emergency is over today, tomorrow, the next day, everything come next year is going to start to flip over. You're going to see lots of changes. Lots of people are going to be absolutely pissed because they got duped. And that's okay, because we're just going to give you more love. We're not going to say we told you so, because that's not right. But we're going to sit there and we're going to support you and we're going to hold your hand. And then us, meaning me and my team, I have many, we're going to sit there and we're going to help you through it. And then I have lots of students who are at the ready to do healing on whoever needs it. So now is our time. Now is your time to rise. Now is your time to learn. Now is your time to gain wisdom and knowledge. And yeah, go see how that works for you guys. That's all I did. I just studied YouTube videos and I could see where it was false. Plus I had people who would tell me certain things about the hospitals and that too. Like, the hospitals are full of people. No, they're not. I had a nurse and other people tell me there was nobody in the hospitals when there was, and they work in all the hospitals and schools in all the country. And when they were telling you they were full, they weren't. Even now, some things are starting to transpire. Information's starting to come out where it's, as of January, things are going to start flipping over. I was supposed to do an outdoor event 2 years ago. They just messaged me and said, hey, we're ready to launch this coming summer. I said, perfect. No vaccine, no mask, not doing it. And no card, whatever that nonsense is. And she goes, oh no, as far as we know, as of March, there is no indoor mandates for anything. So do you see, she's giving me the pieces of the puzzle. January at the colleges, they're going back to full capacity, if not above. The only thing is you have to be shot in the arm to go, right? So are you going to stand up and say no? Or are you going to stand in there and go, okay, I got to get this because I need to go back to school, right? So do you see the illusions? Right? They're willing to stack the kids back in class No mask. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that. No mask. Take this off and you can go back to class full time come January. So let's see how those narratives play out, right? Because as of right now, your body already knows what to do. Your body knows how to protect your immunity. I literally have rubbed my hands on shopping carts and licked my hands. I healthy as can be. So you cannot spread a virus, just so you know that. Go talk to people who actually care about their job. Talk to PPE experts, people who went to school for years to learn what PPE does. Talk to those people because the narrative you're listening to doesn't make sense. Doctors are starting to flip and see where it doesn't make sense. If the doctors are seeing where it doesn't make sense, wait, we gotta wait. See the illusion, see the truth, raise your consciousness. You got this. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go, but I am coming back. We'll talk about how to shift your timeline, how to shift out of like certain situations, and we'll go through that and help you guys transition into a better life for yourself. But I wish you so much love, and I wish you guys come back again. Please share this out if you want to. I appreciate it. I wish you so much love. Have a great evening.